We start with the definition.
Sure. Yeah, Hanukkah is the festival that's done. It always happens around the time of Christmas, around there. You know, the Jewish people celebrate. Hanukkah means literally, it's a Hebrew word. Hanukkah means the dedication or rededication. And it's celebrated, you know, most people think of Hanukkah, even Jewish people think of Hanukkah, it's, as you said, the Jewish Christmas. It's really not. But a kind of lighthearted holiday. We light the candles. You know, this is actually a menorah that is the 7-branch one. Now, Hanukkah is a 9-branch one for the 8 days and one to light it.
I see.
But this is the Hanukkah menorah actually is based on this one. This is the 7-branch of the temple. That's what the Hanukkah branch is, a holiday version of the 7-branch, you know, candlestick in the temple. And so this is what it's about. And, you know, they're gifts. It's kind of lighthearted. Eat potato pancakes.
Right.
Do the dreidel. Nice little Jewish. You know, when I was growing up, it's the Jewish Christmas. You know, my friends had Christmas. We had Hanukkah. You know, that's basically.
And you get presents?
Oh, you get presents every day. You get 8 presents. Yeah.
Oh, you're better off than we are.
Well,
then, right?
if you do the 12 days of Christmas, we're not. If you do one, we are. You know, Jewish people are. But the thing is, it's this nice little Hanukkah, but it's really not a nice little holiday. It's one of the most amazing revelations of the end times of any holiday given by God. Now in the Bible, you have trumpets. You do have some end time things there. You've got the Feast of Trumpets and Tabernacles, which have end time things about it. But Hanukkah has the most specific revelation of the end times. And so many people miss it. Prophecy people miss it. Jewish people certainly miss it. Christians miss it. This thing holds probably the most exact, precise revelation of what's going to happen in the end times. Wow. Also, the strategy of how to overcome in the end times is in this revelation. And, you know, people don't realize, if you ask where is it in the Bible, you know, if you ask where's Hanukkah celebrated in the Bible?
Where is it in the Bible?
Well, the thing is that's interesting. Hanukkah is only celebrated in the New Testament. It's only in the New Testament. People don't realize this. I mean, it's a great thing to witness to Jewish people. You say, where's Hanukkah in the Bible? It's prophesied in the Old Testament. Daniel prophesies of it, but it doesn't happen. It happens in the middle of the Old and New Testament. It only appears in the New Testament. And the one who celebrates it is Jesus. Yeshua, Messiah, is the one who celebrates Hanukkah. And you find it in the book of John 10. And the problem is, when they translated it into the Greek and into English, you can look at it and you don't even realize it's Hanukkah. It says in John 10, it says it was wintertime, and Messiah was in the temple in Jerusalem. It was wintertime, in the porch of Solomon. It says, and it was the feast of dedication. Oh. Dedication is how we read it, so nobody knows. Dedication in Hebrew is Hanukkah.
Oh,
it's Hanukkah. So the one who celebrates, the only one in the Bible who celebrates Hanukkah is Jesus. Jesus, the one that centers on Christmas. We don't know that he celebrated Christmas, but he celebrated Hanukkah. So the one who, you know, so there's a connection right there. Oh, and that's a great thing. Again, a witnessing tool to Jewish people. Do you know where Hanukkah is in the Bible? New Testament. Oh. It's John 10. Messiah celebrates Hanukkah, and as he does, and that's when he's revealing, I am the one. I mean, right there, he gives a Hanukkah speech, and the thing about it is. The other connection is that without Hanukkah, you would not have Christmas. Hanukkah brought Christmas because if there was no Hanukkah, the faith of Israel would have been wiped out, and that we'll get into it. But it would have been gone. The biblical faith would have been gone. There would have been no Mary, no Joseph, no apostles, they wouldn't be there. So Hanukkah brings Christmas. So people realize, so it is a feast that not only Jewish people should know about, or, you know, I know many Christians who actually light the menorah, but it's something that has everything to do with our faith. So it very much, and that's just where it is. But then on top of it, you've got this end time revelation that is so filled with things, which we can get into.
I want to do that.
Yeah.
Can we do it now?
Yes, we can do it now.
I want to know. I'm an end time preacher, I guess. I don't know.
Well, the first clue about Hanukkah, and we'll get it. In order to understand it, you need to know the story of it. But before that, to even say this, for instance, the history of Hanukkah, the record is not the Bible proper. It's in the book of Maccabees. That they record it. But it is history. It's real, and God was in it. God was doing this. Because again, if he didn't do it, you'd have no Messiah coming. Right. So God was in Hanukkah. And so it's recorded in the book of Maccabees. That's history. It's not the Bible. We can use it as history. And so what it says is, it speaks about what they did. It speaks about it talks about this man called Antiochus, who was this king we're going to get into, but this has everything to do with the end times. And it speaks about something that the book of Daniel prophesies of it. So the book of Daniel says, you read the end of Daniel, it says, he speaks about Antiochus, he speaks about the events of Hanukkah. And he speaks about and what he says is, he says, what Antiochus did is he desecrated the temple. Sound familiar? He desecrated the temple, and he caused the sacrifices to cease. And says, for how long is this going to be? And the answer given in Daniel in the original version, it says, it will be for a time, times, and half a time. A time is a year, times is 2 years, and half a time is 3.5 years. So Hanukkah, you begin to have this figure of 3.5 years is all about this thing about Hanukkah. But then when you read Daniel, who speaks about this, he also speaks about the end. He says, the people of the prince who will come will destroy the city. He speaks about the Antichrist. The people who destroy the city were the Romans. He's saying the people, the prince who shall come, he will make a covenant for a week. It's a year, 7 days. He says, in the middle of the week, he'll turn against this. The middle of the week, that's 3.5 years. That's times, that's the Hanukkah number you find in the end times. Then when you read the book of Revelation, you see it says, Revelation 11, I was given a reed like a measuring rod and told, go and measure the temple of God, the altar, count the worshipers there, but don't measure the outer court. They will trample the holy city for 42 months. How long is 42 months? 3.5 years.
Yes.
That's the Hanukkah number. Times 3.5 years. Then Revelation 12, verse 6 is the woman fled into the desert, place prepared. She was going to be taken care of for how long? 1,260 days. How long is 1,260 days? 3.5 years.
3.5 years.
All that. So right away, you're seeing that Hanukkah is the beginning of all this revelation that it comes back in the book of Revelation. And so to understand
this has to do with Antichrist. 3.5
has
years.
And Hanukkah has...
Am I getting ahead of myself
Yes.
here?
No, you're right. You're absolutely right.
But you all know 3.5 years, that's where and then the 7 years, and then the 3.5 is the Antichrist.
Yes.
What does this have to do with Antichrist in Hanukkah?
It's all revealed in Hanukkah. The Antichrist is revealed in Hanukkah. The end times are revealed in Hanukkah. The persecution's revealed in Hanukkah. What's happening in America is revealed in Hanukkah. It's all there. And the thing is, for instance, here's another one. Daniel speaks about this desecration of the temple. And they called it back then, they called it the abomination desolation.
That's
right. That was Hanukkah. That had to do with... But then Messiah says, when you see what was spoken of by the prophet Daniel, it's not just what happened, it's going to happen again.
Yes.
What happened in Hanukkah is going to happen in the book of Revelation.
Oh, my Lord.
So it's all there in Hanukkah specifically about... It's going to touch everything that's happening right now, even what we were here to pray about, what happened in America. It's all there. And people are innocently celebrating this thing without realizing how incredible. And it's going to give also the strategy of how to overcome in the end times. So
but Jesus says the abomination of desolation will take place before he returns.
That's right.
And people say, oh, no. Everybody seems to be teaching that the Antichrist will not be revealed till after Jesus comes back. But yet Jesus says the opposite. Isn't that right?
Yes.
And you're teaching this. This is the most in-depth teaching on this I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Don't let me interrupt you. Let's go on.
No, this is actually, linking just a link to the Harbinger, is that people say, well, how does this all go together? When you look at the end times, you don't see America as the head of nations specifically mentioned as the head of nations. Oh. So the point is, what is the Harbinger is kind of filling in the gap, that it's between now and then, if America doesn't turn back, this is what's going to happen. It's going to set up another world system when you don't have this present American-led thing. So now we're sort of taking the big picture, where the big picture is the end times, and is a time where what we know now as America has ended before this happened. So we are watching this happen. And to understand this, Jim, and to understand Hanukkah, to understand where this is going to open up everything. And by the way, there's probably tons of stuff that I haven't seen, but that are there.
Oh,
so it's all there.
It's amazing.
And so the first thing is, we got to know the story of Hanukkah in order to understand it. This is the blueprint. Just like with the Harbinger, you have a blueprint of what's going to, ancient Israel, and you have America, you have a blueprint of the end times. So what happens? This is what happens. It's in between Old and New Testament. You have Israel. Okay, they've been restored. They have a temple, all that. But what happens is a new civilization rises up, the Greek civilization. They want to make everybody the same, a one world system. They want everybody to come into this system. So they want Israel to give up their faith. So what happens is a man rises up. His name is Antiochus. It even sounds like the Antichrist. Or Antiochus in the Greek. Antiochus, king. Antiochus, his full name is Antiochus Epiphanes. He gets up and what he does is he declares, the book of Matthew says, he says, his kingdom shall all be, they will all follow the gods of the Greeks. They will follow Zeus. And he says every nation must give up its tradition, give up its gods, give up whatever it have, and they will all come into this. Well, people start doing it all over the kingdom to become this one world system. And what happens is, and there's one people who cause a problem. There's one people who just don't fit into the system. Always. They never fit in. And guess which people that is? Israel. They just never fit in. And so always a problem. So he says, you know what? I'm going to wipe them. I'm going to wipe out this faith. And if he did this is the enemy, because the enemy knows that Jesus is coming. If he can wipe this out, he tries to wipe it out. Then he tries, just like a little tangent, same thing when Israel was going to come back as a nation in 1948 and all the prophecies are going to be fulfilled, guess what the enemy does? He raises up Hitler to try to destroy Israel. Because if he does it, he stopped all the prophecies. So that's why it's so satanic. Well, even before Messiah comes this. It's an attempt to destroy the faith of Israel, make everybody apostatize. So he puts the laws. What he does, he goes into the temple, into the holy place, and he sets up an idol in the temple. Does that sound familiar? He sets up an image in the temple, and he slaughters a pig in the temple to desecrate the temple. So it is called the abomination desolation. It makes the holy place desolate. And so for this time period, he abolishes all sacrifices to God, and the temple becomes a pagan temple, the temple of God.
A pig is a very unclean animal in Bible days.
Yes.
Old Testament.
Still, yes.
Still
not very clean.
Sorry, you pig farmers. Don't get mad at us. But they really, and so it was an abomination that bring a pig.
Yes.
It's so opposite of a lamb.
Exactly. Because the spirit, and we're going to get into it, because we're going to get into the spirit of the Antichrist. People look for the Antichrist, which is, one thing, but the point is people don't realize the bigger picture. The spirit of the Antichrist is already working and already affecting our lives as we get closer. And that's revealed in Hanukkah. So what happens is, so he desecrates it. The temple of God, the holy temple, becomes a pagan temple. It becomes a desecrated, unholy, the house of God. They have pagan celebrations in it. It's darkened. They have sexual immorality in the temple, and it's off limits. No Jewish person can go up there and worship God. Then he says we're going to persecute the people of God. Anybody caught with a Bible or a scroll is going to be killed. And they start burning scrolls, burning Bibles. They say anybody who observes the Sabbath is going to be killed. Anybody who teaches their children in the ways of God will be killed. We're going to force across Israel, we're going to force people to worship the Greek gods. So they force people to sacrifice, they set up altars all over the land of Israel. And it looks like he's going to wipe out the faith of the Bible. It's going to be gone, in which case we would never be saved. So this is the enemy doing it all over. It looks like he's going to win, and people across Israel start going along with it. This is the time. This is the way the times are going. We better just go along with it. We'll go along with the Greeks. We'll go along with this. We'll walk around naked in the gymnasiums. We'll we'll be like the Greeks because we'll do that. So they start going along with it. Even religious people start going along with this apostasy. All happening. It's going to be wiped out, except that God has a different plan. And from the middle of nowhere, from the hill country of Judea, people who are kind of not in the world system, they're a family called, his name was Matthew or Mattathias, and he has these sons. And he's watching as they're forcing people to sacrifice to this, and he says, I will not do that. And he says, I will never follow away from God. He raises up, he starts a resistance. He heads for the hills because they're going to be persecuted. He and his sons, one is called Judah, or Yehuda, one is called Jonathan, and they are given the name the Maccabees. That's where you get the name Maccabees. And so they go up to the hills. They don't know how to fight. They don't know how to do anything. But they say we're going to resist this. What happens is the Greeks send an army against them, and miraculously the Greeks lose against them. They take the weapons. They didn't have weapons before. They're outmanned. And then they send another army against them. They win again. Then they send another. They say, whoever's for God, come with us. Leave the world. Come in the mountains. Come. Whoever's for God, you got to make a stand. You cannot just go along with this. People start joining them. Another army comes. Miraculously, they win again. And then they look at they're looking at all the numbers. They say, we're outnumbered. We don't even know how to do this. They say, but with God, it doesn't matter how few we are. It doesn't matter if we're the minority. We're going to win. And so they pray. They literally pray and fast. They fast and pray. And they win. And finally, Antiochus, who actually we're going to talk about him as the shadow of what he does. He is the shadow of the Antichrist the Bible gives. But he sends half of his entire army of the kingdom into the little land of Israel with elephants and all that to wipe them out completely. And the Maccabees win against Antiochus. They win, and so it's all gone. They come up to the temple. They look at the temple, and they see this pagan place, desecrated, defiled, all these things, the idol that the Antiochus set up. They take it out, they smash it, they take it, they find the temple, they reconsecrate everything, they find the lamp, the candle, or they redo it, which had been gone, no light, the light of God. They put it back, they light the lights of the menorah. And there is a story later by the rabbis that there was a miracle of oil. That's legend. Okay, but what they did is they light it and they celebrate. They dedicate the temple by lighting the menorah, the light of God, and this becomes the lights of the Hanukkah. Hanukkah is the rededication of the temple. So here they rededicate it, victory. They cleanse themselves. Everybody repents and cleanses themselves. The temple is back. And Israel becomes a nation again unto God, and Messiah comes. Now that is Hanukkah. Now Hanukkah. Now,
isn't that a good? Wow.
We would not. Again, none of us here would be saved.
Which is Christmas too.
Christmas is coming, and it would never happen if this didn't happen. So God was in this, and the thing is that, and to this day, so Jewish people are lighting the lights of the menorah.
Yes.
But most Jewish people don't even realize why they're doing it. They're celebrating a temple that doesn't exist. There hasn't been a temple for 2,000 years, except it says that we are the temple, which, by the way, Hanukkah has a message to us, too. And so, as far as the end times. So that is the blueprint. This is the blueprint of the end time revelation. And from this, you're going to see, already, as I'm talking, I can see your things are clicking.
Yeah.
Because it's going to have it's going to tell us all sorts of things about what is happening, what will happen, and how to resist. And so that's where we can go now. We want to open it up. But this is something where people would have no idea as they celebrate this and I got a gift, I got this. I have no idea how deep this thing is.